space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission, to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Welcome to Red Ice Creations Radio. Glad to have you with us. Thank you for tuning in. If you are a regular or new listener tuning in for the first time, good to have you here. My name is Henrik Palmgren and we are coming to you from Sweden, Scandinavia. We are here with a new program every Thursday and Sunday. You can find us from around the globe 24/7 through our website redicecreations.com. That's REDICE creations.com. On our website, you'll find Radio Archives, a busy news section with some interesting, important, upsetting, and also some positive stories from around the world. We also have a member section containing extended interviews with many of our guests, short films, live feeds, and where you can find our entire and growing radio archive going back to over 2 years now. Today we have with us Kent Daniel Bentkowski, or Kentroversy for short. And regular listeners know that Kent's been with us before on the show. Those of you who don't know, he is the man behind controversypapers.net. Based out of Buffalo, New York, Kent writes on numerous topics around conspiracy, corruption, politics, the occult, and the symbolic, and much more. So check out his website, controversypapers.net. And we have Kent back with us on the program today to dive into the world of Gene Roddenberry. We are going to talk about Star Trek, no less, and talk about the series' predictive properties, if you will. Myself, I've mainly watched the first incarnation, the original series with Kirk, Spock, McCoy, and the other lads. I've also seen the films, of course, and also the very latest version of the Enterprise that was done back around 2001, I think. So it's going to be interesting hearing about Kent's viewpoints and thoughts about the Star Trek franchise here today. So let's say hi to our guest. Hi, Kent. Nice to have you back on the program again.
Thank you, Henrik. It's great to be back.
Excellent. How are you today, Kent?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking.
Very good. Thank you for coming on again. So, I mean, I think a good place to start is to, if you could, I guess, give us a little bit of background or preface this in some way in regards to Star Trek and kind of lead us into the topic, if you will.
Yeah, sure. What I noticed, being a lifelong Trekker myself, the first series started in 1966, and I was 5 years old at that time. So I've started watching these Star Trek episodes with the original series and continuing through all the various television series, even including the animated cartoon that was produced for one season in the early 70s. And what I noticed was that this is the only science fiction franchise that has real-life technology built into the program. For instance, if you look at Star Wars, which is quite popular, they don't show real technology. They show the symbolic type of technology. What I'm talking about specifically is that in the original pilot episode, and a pilot episode is a sample of what a show will look like when it gets put on the air. What happened is they had a fax machine on this first episode, which was filmed in 1964. They had a large screen projection television, and one of the early models of a cell phone was represented in the form of the Star Trek communicator. So as I'm watching these series throughout the years, I'm getting a feeling for all these predictive programming properties that this and this alone has.
If one puts it into context of what's going on today, we can surely recognize that this is the nature of many television shows. I guess, especially, well, if we think of movies at least, like the Bond movies, they're showing, the latest and the new gadgets. But I guess what you're referring to is that this series back in the 60s was one of the first shows to really combine, do you think, commerce or upcoming technologies and entertainment at the same time?
Yes, it was the first show to display this. And the only, the only science fiction series since then to ever show this. So it makes for quite a unique situation unto itself.
When you said the first episode, I know that they did I think it was a prelude or before the show ran that actually didn't star Captain Kirk. What's his name? William Shatner, but the other guys. Is that one you're thinking of, or the first show that the first program that actually aired?
Yes, it was the first ever produced episode, which never made it to air until the mid-1980s, and actually was released on VHS in the early 90s, and finally was released on DVD in the early 2000s when they released the 3 episodes of the classic original series. This is an episode called The Cage, which was actually rewritten and turned into a 2-part episode called The Menagerie, which was in the original show's first season.
Yes, we have the technological aspect to this, that a lot of new gadgets and things like that are being shown in the series. What about, I don't know if we should call it political issues, but just going through the wiki thread or post on Star Trek, I think there is reference in there that Gene Roddenberry was actually looking for a place where he could actually, release or deal with issues that were kind of related to the time, to the 60s, but kind of encapsulated in a different formats. He said that this was regarding issues like war and peace, imperialism, class war, economics, racism, sexism, feminism, and a lot of other stuff. Is that something that you've picked up on as well, Kent?
Oh, yes, absolutely. In fact, in going back to the original series again, there was an episode where they had people with half black and half white faces. One group of people had the black on the right-hand side of their face, and the other group had it on the left-hand side of their face. So there were a symbolic representation of racism through that episode, where they were talking about the lack of acceptance for what people looked like, which certainly was a valid point in that time frame.
Right. And I think this is quite a common theme too. Once you read a lot of interviews with creators behind sci-fi, many of them actually do say that what they write about actually is not, about the future in that sense, but it is about the present. But they can do it in a format kind of cover it or encapsulate it in a different place or a different time, and in that way it becomes more easy to deal with the subject. So it's quite smart to do it in that way also. What do you think?
Yes, it is. In fact, network executives get very, very touchy when it comes to showing real-life issues such as racism, sexism, imperialism, and all the other isms you just mentioned a moment ago. And so they can show this through fiction, and in this case it's science fiction, so they can do two different things at the same time. They can address these very important social issues, and at the same time they can portray this as being part of a much desired future that we should aspire to.
What do you think about that idea, though? If we think of the overall picture that is being presented in the Star Wars with the United Federation of Planets and things like this, do you think that's is it a future worth aspiring to, or is there something hidden and reason to worry about in the future that is being presented? What do you think?
Well, one of the things that has been embedded into the structure of the show is this one world government concept. And we see this being portrayed through the United Federation of Planets, for instance, which is like an intergalactic United Nations, if you will.
Right.
And it has been represented as such in books that have been written about Star Trek, many of which I have read over the years. And so with that being hidden into the structure, we have to wonder what exactly it is that they're getting to here. The other thing that I found to be very interesting, Henrik, was one of the consultants on the original series was this man named Harvey Lin, Linn, who worked for the Rand Corporation here in the United States.
Really?
Now, the Rand Corporation is one of these think tank groups who is charged with introducing new technologies to the world as one of their missions. And the other thing that they do is they have a hand in shaping public opinion about certain subjects. And the subjects that I'm referring to in this case would be extraterrestrials and what would happen if they landed and so forth. There have been several Rand Corporation reports that have been written over the years that have tackled the issues of, what would happen if a UFO landed in the middle of the White House lawn.
Right.
For instance.
So, do you think that this could be a way to, if we think of it this way, that this could be a way of disseminating, or slowly, I guess, through increments, releasing this kind of information to the public in such a way that we become accustomed to what actually might be a potential reality out there, but they, in the positions of think tanks and whatnot, or have knowledge that this is the case. Do you think that's a possibility here?
Yes, I most definitely do. And what makes me believe that is that there had to have been